Welcome to the Market Smarter, Sell More podcast. I'm your host, Andy Barnett, joined as always by my co-host, the man who puts Hayes in Hayes Group, Mr. Adam Hayes. How we doing?
Good. How you doing?
How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Hey, it's May.
Yeah.
May around Indiana.
Oh, it's race time.
It's race time.
Oh yeah.
It's race time. Do you do anything special for the race?
Yeah, avoid it.
avoid all that.
Yeah.
We used to go every year when I was little.
Yeah.
Every year. I loved it. And I was super into like Indy cars. And then it took a big dip. Probably when I got a little older, around high school time, I didn't want to go. I would go with my parents, obviously. Then it was like, nah, I'll stay home and go to some cookout and have it on the radio, which is a real unique thing to the state, I think, listen on the radio.
Yeah. That's what we did mostly when I was a kid. We went to Carb Day a few times and hung out for the day. And I'll remember when I was a little kid, my dad took me to Carb Day and I was exhausted. You know, it's a lot of walking.
It is, because it's huge.
So we're sitting along the front row there and we're just watching the cars, and I was so sleepy. I fell asleep.
Yeah,
those cars are coming around like 150 decibels.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I fell asleep. That tells you I was busted tired.
Well, last time I went, I had to actually put earplugs in.
Yeah,
because it was so loud.
Loud.
Yeah, and maybe because I'm
one thing I did enjoy, and this doesn't happen in May, when not the IRL, the F1 series was coming to town, and I think it came once or twice.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened with the agreement with the track, but it fell out. But I did go to one of those races, and I was fascinated. I mean, the drivers in the cars are just absolutely top notch.
Yeah.
It was an unbelievable experience to be right down near the racetrack and see those cars and see those drivers. It was amazing.
You always really wonder about how much of it's actually the drivers. You know, now obviously they're all very talented, but when it comes to winning a race, especially F1, where it's so the technology is so out of this world, does it really matter who's back there driving it? I don't know. Maybe the answer is yes. Absolutely makes a huge difference.
Well, I mean, that's a good question. You know, I mean, if you took like a robot and said, okay, you're going to get in this Honda car, you're going to get in this Toyota car, you're going to get in this Mercedes car with their different technologies that they have and the different engines that they have, and create the same level playing field, take the driver out of the equation. Does Honda win it every time? Does Mercedes win it every time? So is it the car or is it the driver?
Yeah,
you know,
probably some combination of both, but is it 80-20, 90-10, or is it 50-50?
Yeah.
I'm imagining the best manufacturer wins.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm not a IRL fan. I'm not a, circle track fan. I like the F1. And Michael Schumacher is one of the, most renowned, decorated, winners of the F1 race. And I mean, there has to be something said that the driver does have contribution to it. Right.
He would have to be. But if you remember when Schumacher kind of came back for a couple of years after he left Ferrari, it was where he dominated. I used to work with a guy that loved F1. So I by osmosis, I learned a little bit of that too. Yeah. So, but he drove for Ferrari, was dominant for years. Then he came back a couple of years later. I don't think he won a race.
Yeah, maybe he was on Mercedes.
Yeah, that's right. He didn't just get bad. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like, I think manufacturer, especially in F1, has so much to do with it. You would have to imagine the same applies to IndyCar. Now, I think the Indy 500 is always unique in that it's a crapshoot where you have to have a little bit of luck. You have to be on the right pit cycle. You have to, you
got to have some cars in reserve that have the same capability as your car number one. And it takes an enormous budget to be able to play that game.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And I mean, quite honestly, racing struggles with sponsorships. I mean, if we're talking about the marketing aspect of racing, it's really difficult. I mean, the sponsors, they have their name on the car, but the car is going so fast you can't see the sponsorship.
Yeah.
And it is an enormous investment.
Oh, huge.
Right.
Huge.
And not only the investment of the cost of sponsorship, but then they have to activate that sponsorship. So they have to create events for people and entertain them at those events. And it's just, it's difficult from a marketing standpoint to get the dollars the teams need to really thrive.
Right. I'm glad you kind of steered in that direction too, because you're exactly right. I've seen that some drivers occasionally I'll just happen to be in the car, and month of May they always have the track dude Michael Young on, always talking about the race. So I learn a little bit about what's going on this year. A lot of the times drivers that will get seats will be people that can bring their own sponsorship
exactly
with them.
Yeah.
It's okay. You're a good driver. what can you also bring to the table? Can you also bring a sponsor with you?
Yeah. You got to be a good salesman as a driver.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And like you said, they have to go to different events. They have to really, really participate in the marketing of their sponsors, because it's huge.
It can't just be the name on the car.
Right.
They have to activate that sponsorship.
Right. Events, all kinds of events in the month of May, obviously, but really year round, you have to be, kind of an advocate for that brand that you're behind, or that, whatever it is that you've kind of put your name behind, that sponsor.
Yeah.
You have to be at events. You have to be, there, available. And that's really kind of what sets IndyCar apart too. I think NASCAR is really good at it too, but their drivers,
whether it's IRL or the NASCAR, it's great people watching.
Yeah, right. Yes. That's a whole nother.
Both places, it's spectacular people watching.
That's right. I had my eyes open. Yeah, like I said, I've been going since I was a little kid, and those binoculars you could see down there in the snake pit. Now, the whole nother world. When we were kids,
no question.
Yeah, and I think they really got hurt when they split back in the early '90s.
If they did a survey, and it was an honest survey, people answered honestly. What percent of people that go to the race? Let's say there's 250,000 people that go to the Indy 500. What percent of those people are there for the race, and what percent are there just for people watching and to party?
Yeah, and the party.
Is it 50-50?
At least.
Yeah,
at least. I mean, if you see, I think capacity is. I think you're dead on. It's about 250,000 people, 250,000, and maybe around 300,000. On a really big event. And you go to those infield, like the night before, if you ever go down to like the Coke lot, there's a good 100,000 people out there that I don't know if half of them are going to make it the next day of the race. So there's many times I say I've gone to the race several times, even more times I've gone down and just hung out. Now, that being said, that was a good, 15 years ago, probably at this point, not really my scene anymore, but man, it's still a scene.
Yeah.
They always get big bands, and that's always a big thing too. I think I don't know who they have coming this year, but it's always a big event to have, on Carb Day, I think is when they do it, and have several bands. I don't know who it is this year. It's not the Beatles. So.
Or Led Zeppelin.
It's not Zeppelin this year. Elvis, he backed out the last minute. Yeah.
Nirvana backed out too.
I know. So I don't know what they're gonna do. Maybe White Snake's available. So
could be.
We'll see. That kind of fits the demographic there too. So
hey, the Scorpions are getting back together. You never know.
That's right. Yeah. Carb Day, one day only. Scorpions live at IMS.
Rock you like a hurricane.
That's right. All right. We will be back in a minute with our guest. Crazy King Burrito. Crazy King is now open in Carmel, Indiana, folks, and you do not want to miss their incredible menu. Crazy King burritos are made fresh daily with authentic Mexican recipes. They believe in doing one thing and doing it right, which is great news for us. Every burrito is fresh made by people who know exactly what they're doing to handcraft the biggest burrito I think I've ever seen. You can dine in, or they can bring it out to you with curbside pickup. Check out their online menu at the link below to order from your new favorite burrito place. Crazy King Burrito. Welcome back to the Market Smarter, Sell More podcast. We're now joined by our guest. Adam, you want to do the introductions?
Yeah, today we're joined by Rich Hockins with RH Solutions, who is independent advisor with Sales Xceleration Group.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being with us. So tell us what you do.
So just like the name, I'm an independent advisor with Sales Xceleration. I help small to medium businesses fix and grow their sales. Mm-hmm. Usually the owner's stuck, frustrated, something's not working. So I come in and help them uncover what's wrong, what they can change, and how they can grow their sales.
Okay, awesome.
What's the most common problem you see?
So
sounds like there's a few.
There's a few, but that's a great question. So typically the problem is small business. Usually the owner, CEO, is running sales.
When you say small business, tell us generally the size.
Everybody has a different size, right? So I'm talking like under 10 million maybe in revenue. Mm-hmm. The owner's running everything, including sales, and everything's been going great, but they're trying to scale.
Yeah.
And usually the owner isn't as adept at managing sales along with the rest of the organization in order to scale the business. Mm-hmm. So they hit a glass ceiling, they miss their goals. They're like, I don't know what's wrong. Would you come in and help me figure it out?
Right.
Yeah.
And so I know that you offer an assessment, right?
We
So
do.
one of the tools you have is a free assessment.
Yeah.
Kind of let you know, okay, strategically, where do I need to take this organization? What tool sets do I need to do? How do I need to coach? Walk us through that tool set and how that helps.
So usually when I come into an organization and talk to the owner and give the assessment, I'm looking at 4 major areas of sales. I'm looking at sales strategy, sales methodology, the sales organization, and the go-to-market. So are we using a sales strategy? Does it align with the company strategy? The methodology and the infrastructure. Do we have a sales process? Are we using a CRM? Do we have documented compensation plans the sales team has seen and signed? The things that the sales team needs to flourish. And then we look at the team. Do we have the right people in the right seats at the right time? Do we need to add more people? Do we need to rearrange some people? Do we need to recoach and train people?
Yeah.
Are they going to be effective at doing the job the owner or business wants? And then the last one is go to market. Are we calling on the right customers? Are we using the same terminology? Are we all communicating the right value proposition?
Yeah.
Right? Something near and dear to your heart.
Yes.
And are we filling the sales funnel? Are we managing the sales funnel? Are we actually moving things through, hopefully closing them and or finding more leads?
Right.
Yeah.
So when you're meeting, I'm guessing that you're meeting with the business owner, right?
Yeah.
Who is concerned about, driving revenue for their business.
Absolutely.
What are some of the things that you find are common objections to, what you're doing, or common roadblocks that you need to remove to help that business owner move forward and make a decision?
The biggest one is that's the way we've always done it.
Right.
It used to work. Why isn't it working now?
Yeah.
A lot of times you have, without a documented sales process and everybody understanding the goal, you have people moving this way and people moving that way. And what you find is not everybody's in the same direction.
Yeah.
And that's pretty common, and it's easy to fix once we identify what it is and the best way to go forward.
Yeah.
Hey, can you give us and you don't have to tell us the companies, obviously, but you want to give us a kind of a success story, something that where you're able to go into and help them really solve a problem and ease a burden.
Yeah. So 2 come to mind real quick. One is a typical situation. A growing organization happened to be a marketing firm who was trying to scale their business, and the CEO was wearing multiple hats, but 2 in particular was the CEO hat and the business development hat. So they're going out and generating all the leads, closing all the business, but they're also trying to manage and run their own organization. And you eventually reach a point where you realize, I can't do that, because to do one better, I'm going to sacrifice the other one.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was brought in to lay the foundation of sales. They had some of it, but it wasn't quite organized. They had a CRM they weren't quite using. They had no documented processes, and they wanted to hire their first rep. So in order to hire the rep, we needed to organize things so that the rep had the foundation for success.
Sure.
And we also built out their CRM, built out their processes, built a compensation plan, because that person had no idea how to build a compensation plan that would drive behavior the way you want.
Sure.
Right.
Once we got the foundation in place, help them go out and try and find the best candidate for their sales. Ultimately, I did my work. They brought in the candidate. We trained them on everything I built, and they successfully grew the organization to an extent that there was actually a buyout. The organization was sold. So it was success.
Yeah.
The way you want and hope.
Exactly.
The other one is I had a very large organization, and you would normally think the larger, the more organized they are. Let's just say they were over 100 million in revenue, but very disorganized. They were very successful at sales, but very disorganized. They had no CRM. They were emailing spreadsheets back and forth to each other every week. They didn't have a documented sales process. They were trying to add people. They just needed organization.
Yeah.
And so I was able to bring that to them and recommend tools and processes and things they needed to be better organized. Ultimately, they thanked me for getting them in line, and they've been very successful since.
Right.
Yeah.
So your methodology, essentially, it's larger or small. It's kind of across the board. It can fit. It's all about
what I do is
processes.
really industry agnostic. I tell everybody sales is about 80% the same from business to business, industry to industry. There are uniqueness, and there's certainly acronyms and language and things that are unique, but you've got to have the foundation of sales.
Sure.
So would you consider yourself a fractional CRO? Is that kind of the seat that you're taking? Okay.
Yeah. So I come in as a fractional VP of sales, CRO, but definitely that sales head for the organization.
Yeah. And then so when you're talking to a business owner and they say, okay, you're going to come in part-time, can you actually do this job part-time? How do you overcome that? Because I'm sure that's one of the number one objections you get.
It is. It simply put, it's how can you do this job a half day or a whole day a week, or maybe 2 days a week?
Yes.
Every engagement's a little different. The larger the sales team, maybe more time is required, because you're not only putting the foundation in place, you're managing the team, you're holding sales team meetings, you're having one-on-one sales meetings, coaching, right? So the objection is, how can you do this just at a little bit of time a week? The short answer is, it's what I do for a living. I've done this for 25 years. And I'm going to come in with more knowledge and ready access about what we need than probably somebody who's already there or trying to put it together from scratch.
Yeah.
There's very little that I do you couldn't learn or find on your own, but I just bring in the expertise of doing it over and over. The other answer is, I usually ask a CEO, how many hours a week do you spend with the sales team today? And I usually get, 3 to 4.
Yeah.
So I said right there, I'm going to give you 2 benefits. I'm going to come in for double that, 8 hours a week, focused solely on the sales, and I'm going to give you back 4 hours of your week to go do what else you need to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's pretty appealing.
It
Yeah.
is. Once they really think about it, they get it.
Yeah.
But that question is very common.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned 25 years. What's your background? What led you down this path? I'm sure it's what you always dreamed of doing, right?
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
I took a very circuitous route to get to where I am.
Sure.
But, every opportunity I was given, I had little experience in before, but learned a lot, usually on the job, but certainly over the years, it adds up. So I started off in sales. First job was pharmaceutical sales, 100% commission. You learn the hard way real quick, right?
Yeah.
Love to go back and do that again, knowing what I know now.
Yeah.
But eventually worked my way mostly through healthcare organizations and sales.
Okay.
Right. I did a little bit of marketing, did a little bit of sales, progressive roles in leadership in both. My last corporate role was global head of sales, marketing, and after sales support.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
So what's new for you this year? What are you looking forward to? What's your plans? What's your vision for this year?
For this year,
for your business.
For my business.
Yeah. Goals.
Yeah. Appreciate that. So Sales Xceleration has a lot of great tools and partnerships. We've launched some new ones this year. One of which is we're adding a unique offering, a service offering to companies out there where I don't just come in and maybe fill the role as a fractional sales leader, but I can actually help them organize the foundation of sales and actually teach them how to do it, let them do it, and come in maybe on a quarterly basis, checking on their challenges, their objectives, and making sure that they're doing it right, as opposed to me doing it. So it's a different service offering. My goal this year is to grow my practice, but to be able to offer these different services to different businesses to help see success.
Yeah, that's great. So if you think of, the 3-tier pyramid where it's do it yourself, done with you, which is what you're talking about now, and the current service that you currently offer is done for you, right? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Is that excellent?
Yeah. Okay.
What do you know now that you wished you knew when you kind of started this sales journey?
Are you talking about just in the consulting?
However you want to answer it.
Yeah. Let's start from that standpoint.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I wish I knew then that I know now is most companies are facing similar problems. They might be a different scale of problem. They might be more augmented in certain areas. And a lot of businesses don't know what they don't know. I made the assumption when I started that larger organizations had this all figured out. And as I talked about a minute ago with that one large organization, they really didn't. And it's just because they haven't been exposed to it. They hadn't had somebody like me come in and show them the way it could be done better.
Sure.
So there were some assumptions made that above a certain amount of revenue or so many headcount, you didn't need me. When in fact, one of my clients I have right now is about 50 million in revenue, and PE-owned company, right? They have a lot of great people in the organization, great processes, and they've been very successful to this point. They've had a vacancy in the sales leader seat. So they asked me to come in on a temporary basis to lead the organization while they do a search for a more permanent role, which in the beginning I wasn't looking for. But there's a lot of that out there as well.
Right.
Yeah. How do you get new business, or I guess that how do people find you? How do they know that they need you without you saying, hey, I can really help you? Is it more of you kind of getting your foot in the door to talk to them, or?
It is. So the best way I've found most of my clients so far is through referrals.
Okay.
Right. People that I know, such as you guys or other people that do fractional work in other areas, or business coaches who say to the business owner, hey, I know a guy or a gal that does what you need, and let me introduce you. Right.
Okay.
So I bet 80% of my businesses come from referrals. The others come from some marketing I've done. And what's interesting is it doesn't yield as much as you think it would, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's an email campaign or a new website or something, it helps. And it certainly is where I can drive people to learn more about me initially, but where they really understand what I do is a one-on-one conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting in front of them.
Yeah. So I wouldn't ignore those marketing pieces, certainly talking to you guys, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's the foundation of spreading the word and generating broad awareness. But when it comes to getting down to, can I help you fix your problem? I need to better understand your problem. Yeah. And then I need to tell you how I would do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if money were no object, what would you do with your time? What would you do all day?
I would travel.
Yeah.
I would just go see places and do things and relax and
eat good food,
and see different sights, from the mountains to the water. I love travel. I've been very fortunate in sales that I've been able to travel around the world, usually on somebody else's dollar, right?
That's the best way to travel.
It is. And I've seen a lot of great things, and there's far more I still want to do.
So where have you not been that you still want to go?
Yeah, I haven't been much at all through Asia and South America. I've been all over Europe and a little bit of the Mideast. So I wouldn't not go back there, but I'd probably look at some places I haven't been.
Right. Yeah. Expand your horizons a little bit. Yeah.
Where's the favorite place you have been?
Given where I've been, I would tell you the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But Europe in particular, Barcelona and Vienna and Rome, great food, great people, certainly
great history too.
To see, great history,
architecture.
Yeah. Had the opportunity this past summer to go to Rome with my family, first time.
Oh wow!
And my kids had taken Latin in high school, and they were reading things that they had forgotten they knew how to read.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool.
They were seeing things they'd studied, and so they were like,
"That's cool," because it connects the dots. Then it's like, "Oh, yeah, I learned all that for a reason."
That's not to say they didn't love the pasta too. So.
Well, I'm sure, right?
Right. Well, it almost seems like Rich has done this a time or two because he's segueing.
Is this your first podcast or no?
Second.
Okay.
So he's a vet.
Yeah.
He's segueing perfectly into our second half of this, which is learning more a little bit about you.
Yeah.
We kind of know what you do now. Now's the not that wasn't fun, but this is the fun part where we get to learn more about kind of the man behind the curtain there. Right. So we know you like to travel.
I do.
We know you've been to cool places. You like to eat good food.
Yep.
We're cheating a little bit because we know Rich pretty dang well. So we're already cheating. But for the listeners,
we're going to ask him preloaded questions.
That's right. I know. That's right. We'll find the ones that make him most uncomfortable and ask us. We like to do that. That's right. What do you like to do with your free time?
I say I golf, but I really golf at it. It's more to be with the people and just get the exercise. And
I get it.
Fun.
Yeah.
My sister and brother-in-law have tried to get me to pick up pickleball. It's fun. I've done it a little bit. Right.
Yeah.
Traveling's fun. I love reading a great book and spending time with my family for sure.
Yeah. Are you a fiction or nonfiction guy?
Probably, I would say fiction.
Okay.
But I love a great murder mystery, especially if it's based in real life. I love science fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've also had this learning knowledge, right? I love to learn. I love to keep up with current events. And so I read a lot of self-help and professional help books to stay on top of things.
Cool.
Yeah.
Are you an early bird or night owl?
Used to be a night owl. Now I'm an early bird. Some of that is due to my dogs.
All right. So define early. What's early?
5:30.
Okay.
All right.
Usually my dogs are getting me up to eat. They're like, Dad, it's time.
That's right.
So you got a built-in alarm clock.
I do. Yeah. Don't ever have to set my
alarm. And how do you resist the temptation to just pour a little food in there and roll right back into bed?
Well, I won't say it doesn't happen.
I was gonna say that's our standard routine around the Barnett household is I don't get up, eat them, just roll right back into bed. Might not even open my eyes when I do it.
That's your first AI assignment is figuring out the automatic dog feeder, right?
Feed those animals. Yeah, exactly.
Something else I love to do, which some people are like, really, is yard work.
Oh, really?
And the reason is I love to see a finished product, right? I love the way it looks at the end, and I get satisfaction out of taking care of it. But it's really my time. It's away from everybody. My phone can't bother me. People can't bother me. I'm just kind of in the zone. I'm thinking about whatever I want to think about.
Yes.
Well, if you love it that much, I got a friggin' nightmare.
Well, he only loves it on his yacht.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. It's worth a try. So I was like, I got a friggin' nightmare on my hands.
Right.
If you want to come by and visit,
Exactly.
I'm good.
Yeah.
So if you had a soundtrack to your life, what song or artist would color that, or what artist and would color that?
A lot of songs come to mind. One that's always been a favorite of mine is "Everybody Wants to Rule the World."
Yeah.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
Just
Mhm.
loved that song ever
Yeah.
since I heard it. But
Tears for Fears,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I love music. Country's okay. Pop, rock, heavy metal. I mean, I'm into a lot of everything. So
Just depending on your mood.
depends on.
All right,
mood.
let's say it's a
so I'm
pool
in the
day.
car.
I know you have a pool.
I do
So
have a pool.
on pool
Hanging
days,
out by the pool.
what's on the playlist?
Usually 70s, 80s, right?
Okay.
Older rock from when I was younger. When we're in the car, I'll hit the hairband channel, and
Okay.
my wife's
right.
like, "What are you doing?"
Are you on Sirius XM? Okay.
Nice.
So do you use that app then as well out
I
by
do.
the pool? Okay.
Nice. Where'd you grow up, Rich?
So I say Tennessee, right? I was born in Detroit, spent most of my formative years in Tennessee, high school, college, grad school.
What area of Tennessee?
Middle Tennessee, just south of Nashville, small town called Tullahoma.
Okay.
Okay.
Went to high school there, went to a satellite of UT Knoxville, UT Martin.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, loved it. Then went to grad school in East Tennessee, right on the North Carolina border. Met my wife there. Then we got married, moved to Nashville. So I spent almost 20 years in Tennessee.
Yeah.
What was your high school mascot?
The Wildcat.
Dude, I was a Wildcat
Really?
too.
The Kokomo.
I know.
Kokomo
I was a
Wildcats.
Kokomo Wildcat. Yeah.
The Wildcats.
Yeah. Ours is spelled with a K though.
Were you in
Kokomo.
band or did you play sports in high school?
I played tennis.
Okay.
And I was in show choir. And
Singles or doubles tennis?
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which did you like better?
Singles.
Yeah.
I had a great doubles partner, but I just love singles.
Yeah.
Really? I could tell when we played pickleball. Immediately knew. All right, he's got the.
I tend to
He's
try
got
to play
the goods.
pickleball like
Yeah.
a tennis player.
He's
Which
got
is
it.
not always what you
Yeah, I know. I do the same thing. Like, what do you mean I can't go in that area right there?
Right.
I want to smash it at the net. That's
I like
illegal.
to be in the kitchen. I like to
Yeah,
eat.
that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's great. So, what brought you to Indiana?
So I was a sales rep many
Yeah.
years ago for a local company here, and I killed it with sales. Really enjoyed it. Learned a lot. It was a large company that invested in their people, and we had our first daughter. And I said to my wife, I've done really well. I don't want to be gone every other week. Why don't we move to corporate, and I'll get off the road and go into marketing or something else, expand my career. She said, move. She had never moved outside of Tennessee until we moved up here. So I came up here almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And you asked where I'm from and what I call home. Tennessee's really home, but I have been here most of 20 years as well. So
Okay, yeah.
this is what my family knows. This is what my kids know. This is where they call home.
Yeah.
And I do enjoy it here.
Yeah. Would you move back eventually to Tennessee?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. As I get older, I hate the winter.
Yes.
I hate shoveling. I like winter. I hate shoveling, but Tennessee's kind of the best of both, right? It's not too hot, not too cold. Gets all four seasons.
Yeah.
And certainly East Tennessee with the mountains.
Yeah, you got the mountains.
Really, really pretty. So I wouldn't say no, but we don't have any plans right now. So both my daughters are in college. I have 3 dogs, 2 daughters, 1 wife. That's usually the ratio you want. And so
I was adding that up. Like, wait a minute. Okay.
So until the daughters get out of college and we know where they're going to move, we don't really want to take off in any one direction.
Right,
Plus, still a great place to live here.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's see. We already asked you about your best vacation. What drains you?
What drains me?
Yeah.
I'm more an introvert than an extrovert. If you look at the continuum, I'm right kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
What drains me is just a long day of meetings, no downtime, no ability to play catch up on the things still coming at me.
Yeah. So knowing that, so what do you do to refuel your energy when you have a whole day of meetings and you go home at night? Is it, hey, I need downtime with a book, or is it I need to zone out to TV, or is it I need to go to bed, or I need to exercise, or or I need an old fashioned or bourbon, or what does that look like for you?
Yeah, it's a lot of those things, right? It's usually veg out with TV. It's just having a quiet meal. Not to say I don't enjoy people, right? But if you need that downtime,
Sure. Yeah.
in the summer, it's sitting by the pool.
Yes.
Just the ability to recharge. That's how I recharge. Other people are energized by being in crowds. I don't mind it, but after a while, I just have to have my downtime.
Yeah. I'm the same way.
After a while, I just go to bed and I'm out within 5 minutes. to the point that it's just pure exhaustion. It's, needing me to rest.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good problem to have.
It is.
Being able to fall right asleep. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never known insomnia.
So when you watch TV, do you watch movies? Do you watch series?
A lot of series.
Okay. What are you watching right now?
Rewatching Suits.
Okay.
That's very good.
Yeah.
My wife and I are into a lot of these murder mystery 4 or 5 episode documentaries.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
On Netflix or Max.
Oh yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
They have the best.
Tends to be what we gravitate to.
Yeah.
Waiting on the last season of Stranger Things to come out.
Oh yeah.
Apparently we're going to wait a lot longer too.
Apparently it's going to be a while.
Yeah, I don't think they've nowhere close to even finished filming.
Yeah.
So
I'm still waiting on Severance to come back.
I know
They
got stuck.
If you guys know any
strike.
good shows, I'm all in.
Yeah. If you haven't seen Severance, that's
I have not.
Apple. That's a really good.
Okay.
Do you have Apple?
There.
I do.
Yeah. Severance is excellent.
Definitely
Yeah.
watch
Okay.
that. It's one of my favorites too.
Same. One of my favorites of all time.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Absolutely. It's great. Well, when I asked what drained him, I thought he was going to say podcasts.
It's
podcast appearances.
all right. So we have this process here, and something that Andy really likes to do every time. It's called spin the wheel. So it's a wheel of various random topics.
I told him it was coming. I
No,
didn't
you
tell him what it was.
When did
I didn't.
you inform him in the green room?
No. I didn't tell him what it was.
He's got
I
an
just said I have.
finger. He's going to have to go ahead and do
I
it.
said I have a surprise.
So he has
that I
a
like to do.
surprise.
This is the
Yes.
surprise.
So I'm going to go here to present.
Turn around and
Yeah,
see
you
the
can
screen
turn
here.
around. I'm going to share screen with the picker wheel here.
Oh Lord.
Yep. And we will have random topics here. And whatever it lands on, that's what we'll discuss. Unless it's aliens. Even though it's my favorite topic.
We've had that like 5 times in a row.
It's for some reason.
I think he loaded it, Rich. I think he put a weighted average on it.
Thinks I weighted it. And I know I can't. Look at that.
Here it comes. Oh.
Oh, there we
Okay.
go. All right, good.
Okay.
That's a good one for Rich.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Favorite book.
Yeah. If you had to pick one book and you were stranded on a deserted island, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. So you put me on the spot.
Good. We love that.
I know.
Yeah.
I love some typical classics, and one of them, one of my favorite authors is Pat Lencioni, and we were just talking about this the other day with one of my clients, and it's the ideal team player.
Yeah.
And you want to find people who are hungry, humble, and smart.
Yeah.
He's got a new book and a new topic out now, The Working Genius. So I usually gravitate to things like that are informative, and I can usually glean something out of to use in my practice.
Right.
Sure.
But I'm a big Star Wars geek.
Yeah.
So I usually gravitate to movies and books that are somewhat science fiction, Star Wars, Star Trek, Harry Potter.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I've ever told you the Harry Potter story with my son.
Which son? Max?
Max, my oldest, big reader. He read all of the Harry Potter books and it was on the last one, and he's like halfway through the last book and just stopped. I was like, to this day,
wow,
he never read the end of it. I'm like, how can I have to finish things that I start, let alone 7th book of a series, and you get halfway through and stop.
I'm bored. I don't need to know how to.
I think I might have.
He got exhausted.
He was younger, and I think I scared him off. Where I didn't even know how it ends, and I still don't actually. No, I haven't watched the movies or read. I have a brief idea of what, but I said, "Are you not wanting to finish that because Harry dies?" And I just said that.
Oh, you ruined it for him.
Oh my gosh!
I said it as a joke, and then I was like, "I'm just kidding. I don't know, but like, what really happens?" And
he's like, "What? Now I don't even want to know."
Something like that happens, but like I don't know. Like, and he never has. We were just talking about that this weekend. He's a senior in college or in high school right now, and still hadn't finished it. So
I don't blame him.
Yeah,
you ruined it for him.
I think it kind of ruined it for him. So sorry about that, son.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, right. Sorry.
So if you had to pick one, but you could only take one vacation between now and the time that you passed on from this earth, where would that be?
Gosh.
Would it be somewhere you've been or somewhere you haven't been?
Probably somewhere I haven't been.
Okay.
It would probably be somewhere in Asia, Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see China, to be honest. Thailand, China. Done business with Japan, never been over there. Just that would be a whole new experience for me. to go do. I mean, I'd love to go back to the places I've been, but I kind of know what to expect.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is also good and bad.
I was going to say, you're bolder than me. If I knew it was my last vacation, I'm like, I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to go somewhere I know I like.
Yeah.
It's my last one. So
was there any questions that you thought we'd ask that we didn't?
Not really.
Okay.
Well, we got one more for you.
Uh-oh.
What is 3 words your friends would use to describe you?
Oh my Lord.
There's 3. Oh my Lord. And that's it. That's
it. We're out.
Most people say I'm calm.
Uh-huh.
Like they rarely ever see me get upset or lose my temper, which I appreciate.
What happens if you stub your toe? Do you go out of character for that?
I do.
Yeah.
Say a few choice words.
Yeah.
Gets ugly. I would say analytical. I overanalyze things probably to a fault.
Sure.
But I love numbers. I love data. I love metrics. And I think the third one would be fun. Like I can usually go out and hang with most anybody, have a good time.
I think we'd agree with all 3 of those.
Yeah, for sure.
What we know about you. So
Well,
that was a good. Yeah, that's right. Except for that fun part.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that too.
I do too.
Well, thanks for coming on. It was
I know.
awesome.
fun.
Thanks for having us, Rich. This is awesome. You're gonna have to come back.
I would
definitely
love
hang
to.
out. Where can people find you?
Oh, thank you. So salesxceleration.com. I'm one of the advisors for Sales Acceleration
In the state of Indiana.
in the state of Indiana.
Okay.
Although I do work all over the U.S. and Canada. I
Okay.
actually have clients literally in Vancouver and Seattle and Detroit. So I'm not just here, but that's where I'm based. They can also find me at Hockins at salesxceleration.com. And my LinkedIn profile has all kinds of posts.
We'll put a link to it on this episode.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So
Awesome.
this is great. You gotta come back and
It
see
was
us.
fun. I got to come back. I got to share more stories.
Yeah,
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I want to do that wheel again and see what else comes up.
It's always a big hit.
I'm going to come ready for aliens.
That's right.
I'm going to be ready.
Great. Thanks, Rich.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right.